Yeah, okay, thank you. So in the last class, what we are doing is that we are going for steps for constructing our domain model, और हमने inheritance तक बात कर ली थी. Now go for the next thing. So next thing is that will go for testing our access paths. So what are these access paths that are being available for our domain model? So we'll just cover it very precisely or very briefly. So we have to trace our access path through your class model to see if you are going for some sensible results or not. So while accessing your testing path, it means that you have to check whether a sensible results or sensible output will be available or not. So it is quite important for creating your domain model, where you are expecting that a unique value is being written when you are testing your access path, and this path is whether you have to check whether this it is yielding a unique path or not. Now, for considering the multiplicity, like many, one to many or many to many, and also like that. So when we are considering the many multiplicity, so we have to pick out what is the unique path that is being available, because when we are having some single one to one a multiplicity that is being available, so it means that you are getting some unique path. But when we are having this multiplicity, let's say when we are having one to many parts or many to many path, it means that you can have some ununique path that is being available. So you have to check which path is good for your use. So we have to check whether what is being acceptable for us, or what we can disconnect from our class diagram. Let's say we are considering again this ATM example. So when we are considering, let's say we are having a cash card or we are having ATM card that is being available, and this ATM card does not uniquely identify your account, because you can have multiple accounts that are being available, multiple ATM cards that are being available. So you must choose whether it is an saving account or the recurrent account and so on. So we cannot identify that this is particular, this is uh, uh, this is an this is a checking account, or it is a saving account, or the recurrent account. So you have to provide whether this account is saving or checking account. So when we are going for testing access path, let's say consider for again this ATM card. So when you are in these things, so what you can do is that you have to provide some additional information, and we assume that, let's say another example for ATM example. So uh, this ATM, you should have some ATM networks that are being available, and this ATM network serves as a single consortium for the bank. So when you are having some real cash machines, so this often serves an overlapping networks for your bank, and that accepts your credit card as well as your cash card. So when you are identifying that this card is applicable for a particular account, then you can say that you are having multiple cards associated with your account. So we cannot identify the right access path. So another thing is that we have to test for access path whether it is unique or not. Then the another step is for constructing your domain model. uh, just a minute, I am some call uh, from higher authorities, so just a minute. Okay, so we have to take again iterating. Another step is to iterating your class models. Why we are going from iterating? Because in uh, we are going from some stable class model diagram. So when we are considering the stable class diagram, that means that we have to iterate, and we are in multiple class models that are being in our uh, evolutionary process. So what we can do is that we have to go for multiple iteration. So, and your class model is rarely goes or stable for a single pass. So when we are considering the entire software development process, so this iteration is your, yeah, hello, yeah, any problem? No, fine. So when we are considering the software development process, uh, and this software process is just a continual iteration, and we are having some different parts of this model that are being uh, there different parts of model and models are available, and these different models are available on the different stages of your completion. So when you find some deficiency, then you have to go back to your earlier stages and you have to correct all this necessary things to correct your model. So we can say that we are having some different iterations that are being available. Then when we are going from this stable class diagram, then you have to find which class model is good. So we are having different several signs of missing classes that are being available. So these are some signs that we can find that we are having some missing classes that are being available. So first sign is that you are having asymmetry in your association and particular generalization. So what we can do is that we can add new classes by analogy, so that we can add asymmetries and we can handle these asymmetries in your association and generalization. Then we are having again symptoms or signs that disparate separate attributes and their operation on classes. So what we can do is that we can split our classes so that each part is coherent. So what we are trying to do is that we are making our classes coherent, and these classes should be semantically related, where these attributes and these properties should be uh, have some common meaning for all those cases. Then we are having some difficulty in generalizing your cleanly. So in our class model, your one class may have playing some multiple roles. Let's say it is playing two roles. So what we can do is that we can split up and split it into two parts or three parts, and then we can fit all those cleanly. Kindly mute your mic, those who are जिनके mic on है, please. इसका mic on है. So जिनका माइक ऑन है काइंडली आपका माइक ऑफ कर दें, अदरवाइज मुझको म्यूट करना पड़ेगा. So fine. So again, so next sign is that we have to go for duplicate association with the same name and the same purpose. So when you are going from this duplicate association, we have to generalize to create the missing superclasses that unites them. So when you are having this duplicate association, what you can do is that you can generalize to create one superclass, and that can associate all those, and we can say that can unite all those classes during the same course of action. Then the another role is that a role that substantially shapes the semantic of classes. So when you are having such type of problem, it should be on the that it should be reported as a separate class. So this often happens. So what we can do is that we can convert our association into classes. For an example, let's say we are having a person that is being available. So a person can be employed to your several companies with different conditions of your employment at each. Let's say we are having some for a particular university. So uh, so staff of uh, this university are the employees of this university. So we are having different types of levels of faculties available or staff available. Some works in the examination section, some works on the student section, some works in the account section, some works for the teaching purpose, and in teaching purpose you are having professor, associate professor, and the assistant professor. So we are having different levels of or different conditions of employment for each particular staff. So what we can do is that we are having different roles that makes your semantic of classes. In addition to that, we can look out some missing association. So what are these? So we are having some missing access paths for the operation. So what we can do is that we can add new associations so that you can answer your queries. Then another concern related to this superfluous model elements are that we are having a lack of attributes, operation, and the association on your classes. So a question arises that why your class model is needed. So we like to avoid inventing our subclasses that merely indicate an enumeration. So if your proposed subclasses are identical, so we can make a distinction between your different attributes. Then another symptoms is that we can finally adjust the placement of attributes and their association. So in that case, where your association and names that are too broad or that are too narrow for your classes, we can move this association up or down in your class hierarchy. In addition to that, we need to access our objects by one of its attribute, so we can consider qualified association. I think I misused this redundant information. So if we are having some this redundant information, we can remove association that do not add new information, or we can mark them as an derived information. So this is how we can remove our redundant information. So in practice, when we are going for model building, so this model building is not rigidly that we are showing in this different steps of construction. We can combine several steps, and as you get more experience on different levels. So for an example, if we can find a candidate class, we can reject the incorrect ones without writing them down, or we can add them to your class diagrams that find your association. In addition in addition to that, we can take some parts of your model through different steps and different iteration, and we can develop them in some details. So uh, and additionally, what we can do is that we can model our diagrams in details, or we can have some still sketchy diagrams that contains an abstract part of abstract information for particular model. So what we can do is that we can interchange order of steps when it is being when we think that it is appropriate. So it is not a particular like a rigid process that we have to follow all the rules, or we have to follow all the steps. You can gain all those uh, uh, steps, or the order of steps, when you are having some experiences, and then you are comfortable what should you do, and what should you accept, or what should you include, and what can you exclude from your information. So this is solely depends on your experiences level. Now the next step is that we are having this ATM example that is being available. So for this ATM example, we are having and this model is again get further revisions, and after different iteration will achieve this class model, or we can say that right from your domain model you are going to develop or you this class model. So for this ATM example, our cache card, this cache card, so this cache card is now uh, splitted personality. So what we can do is that it is having both uh, authorization unit, so we can have this again authorization unit that is being available, and again this is having some serial number. So what we are doing again here is that we had splitted this cache card into two different parts. So this is how we can remove our redundant information, or we can say that uh, mm, what is that part. So we can find our semantic, we can create semantic classes right from splitting your particular class into different parts. In addition to that, we are having a transaction class that is being available. So this is my transaction class. For this transaction class, we are having more, we had added say this update information. So what is this update information? So this update is usually a single action, whether you are withdrawal, you are going from withdrawal, or you are going from deposit, or if you are going from some queries that what amount is being available in my account. So all updates are considered to be a single transaction, and this single transaction can be processed together as an atomic unit. And if anyone fails, let's say we are going to fail on the withdrawal, so all this transaction can be cancelled. So this is how we can add some association or some attributes as in classes to make our ternary relationship into our binary relationship. Now we like to make distinction between your bank and bank computer. So this is my bank, and where's my bank computer? So I did not added in bank computer. So we are having some different distinction process. So this distinction process can affect your analysis. So when you are trying to make some communication between implementation level for particular artifacts, let's say you are considering this class diagram, so what you can do is that you can make some distinction, a level of distinction in between your particular classes. So when you are going for all those steps, it means that you can go for uh, some evolutionary process that converts your domain model to your particular class diagram. Now the next step, so next step is, and these are two final steps we have to go for your constructing your domain model. So the second last step is that you are having this shifting level of abstraction. So this is considered to be a major problem for constructing your domain model. So what does this mean? Let's say we are having this example. Let's say we are having this individual contributor and this supervisor and a manager. So when we are considering this individual contributor, so this individual contributor reports to your supervisor and your supervisor reports to your manager. So this model is considered to be correct, but it may suffers from your problem. So what are this problem? So there is much commonality between these three classes, and the difference is that their reporting level. So what we can do is that we can transform these three classes into a single classes, and we can have this association and names available here. So boss and the worker, so let's say employee is a worker of this particular boss, or this boss has particular this let's say A is a boss of this particular employee level. So we can go for uh, employee type. So when we are having this person who has employee type, let's say uh, some account section, or let's say again an associate professor or the professor or assistant professor. So a person who is an employee type, so this may be considered as an individual contributor, and this individual contributor is a worker, and this contributor reports to another person. The another person is again having your employee type. So let's say this another employee type is that, let's say we are having assistant professor. So this assistant professor reports to let's say your HOI. So we are having different levels of employee type. So this is again an professor, then you are having HOD, and then you are having a head of institution, and then you are having VC. So instead of having this type of diagram, what we can do is that we can add association level here. So this association and names provide more abstraction in your diagram. So this is how we can achieve a better level of abstraction instead of having this type of information, because these are this will contribute to some generalization over here. Instead, what we can do is that we can combine all this, and we can add association and name with them. And the last one is that we can group our classes into packages. So this is the last step of your modeling, class modeling, and so that we can group our classes into the packages. So what are these packages? So these packages are generally a group of elements that contains your classes, association, generalization, or lesser packages. When we are considering these packages, so these packages organize your model for providing a convenience. Let's say you are having some convenience in your drawing, printing, or viewing. So when you are having a full model of your diagram, let's say class diagram or class model, so you are having multiple classes that are being available. So when you are grouping all those into a simple packages, you are having some convenient in your drawing or printing or viewing all those information, because these packages are considered to be independent. So all dependent items are package into one package, and remaining dependent packages are pegged into the another packages. So this is how we can achieve modularity too. Now the next topic for our syllabus is domain state model. So अभी तक हमने डोमेन क्लास मॉडल देखा था. देन वी आर गोइंग फॉर दिस डोमेन स्टेट मॉडल. सो व्हाट आर दिस डोमेन स्टेट मॉडल? So when we are going from this domain state model, so it means that we are having some domain objects, and this domain objects passes through uh, distinct states during their lifetime. So when we are having object, we are having states associated with these objects, and these objects have different states, and these states and each object can pass through multiple states during its lifetime. So there are many associated constants on your particular attribute values, or we are having different association, or we can say that we are having different multiplicities that are being available on your different states. So it is very useful to construct an state diagram for a particular domain class diagram. So when you are considering this domain state diagram, so this domain state diagram describes the various states of your object, and this object can assume their properties and the constraints for their objects on the various states, and it can also consider the events that take on your object from one state to the another. So while constructing your domain state model, what you are having is that you have to first identify your domain classes that are having some significant states, and after finding these domain classes, we have to follow some steps that are being helpful for considering your domain state model. So we are having different steps that are being available for constructing your particular domain model. Uh, so first is identify your domain classes with your states. So when we are trying to identify our classes, it means that we have to examine the list of domain classes, uh, and what are these domain classes? So these domain classes are those classes, those are having distinct life cycle that are being available. So we have to look for the classes that can be characterized by their history, or that can have some cyclic behavior available for them. So we have to identify the significant states in their life cycle of particular objects. So again, when we are considering this ATM example, so uh, in particular ATM example, we are having some accounts available. So your account is being considered as an business concept, and it may have some behavior for your particular ATM. So your ATM depends on your state of account. uh, let's say if you are having current account, and if you are having, let's say, um, uh, saving account, so what amount you are having different levels of you can um, you can collect different uh, what I can say is that just a minute. So uh, when we are in this account, we can say that we are having different life cycles associated with your different types of accounts for particular ATM. So we are having different levels of hierarchy for different accounts. So when we are considering this domain state model, so first is to identify your domain classes with particular state. So again, consider this example. Let's say we are having uh, again we are considering this account. So we are having this account as an normal account, or we can have different states, that's an overdrawn account, or the closed account, or the suspended account. So we have to identify whether if it is an normal account, then we can uh, collect amount right from your ATM, and if it is closed, we cannot collect amount. or if it isn't suspended, so we need some administrative action to collect our account. So this is why we have to find out the different states. Now after the identifying the classes with these are having states, so we have to identify or we have to list down each states for each classes. So we have to characterize this object in each class. So when we are considering the states for particular objects, we can say that we are having a attribute values that are associated for particular objects, and we are having some association that may participate in your multiplicity. So we have to identify different states. When we are our focus is to identify or finding our state, we don't focus on the fine distinction between the states. Let's say we are going for particularly quantitative difference such as a small, medium or large. This state should be based on your qualitative differences like in behavior or attributes or association. So when we are having that, let's say an example of again this account. So we are having this qualitative difference, that is this account is normal or this is closed or overdrawn or this is suspended. When we are considering on the quantitative difference, it means that your account contains 1 crore rupees or 1000 rupees or 10,000 rupees. So we are not going for this quantitative value, that is 1 lakh rupees or 1 crore rupees or 1000 rupees. We have to go for the behavioral states or behavioral path. So what are the behavior of this account? So this account may be normal, closed, overdrawn or the suspended. So we have to focus on behavior while finding your states. Again, after finding the states, we have to go for finding our events. We have to finding our events. So why these events are particularly important? Because these events are uh, uh, these states are usually uh, what I can say that this this states arises when you are having a difference in between your different events. Let's say you are having some particular events, and let's say you are having the another event. So while in between two events you are having a particular states. So while creating your states, what you can do is that you can find events. So we are having different events that are being available. Let's say we are having an open account. So when an open account event is happening, then you will get a normal account. Then again, and you are going for withdrawing a money. So you are going for withdrawing money, this is good. When you are withdrawing some excess amount of fund, then you go to another state. So these events triggers or it event. I think I'm audible. Yeah. Again, I'm just waiting for my participants. Fine. So the next state is that we have to build a state diagram. So after identifying this state and event, we can go for building our state diagram. So हमने state diagrams previous classes में बना लिए थे. Then we are going for this evaluating our state diagram. So our state diagram is available over here. So we have to evaluate our state diagram whether this state diagram is good or not, or all the states are connected or not, or we are going for we are going or we are paying particular attention to some particular paths or not, or if it represents your progressive class, or the expected variations are present in your class or not, or it represents your cyclic class, or it is having some main loop is present in your class or not, or we can say that there are many dead states that are being available in your class, or you are having some terminate steps that are being available in your class. So we have to evaluate our model. So This is how we can construct our state model. Then the next topic for our class is that we have to iterate our analysis, because this iterating is most important, because our uh, OAD, so uh, our UML process is just an evolutionary process that works on your iterative incremental model. So it contains more than one pass to complete. So when we are starting with our problem statement, so these problem statements contain some circularities, or some or these are some that may be ambiguous, and that may not contain some linear way to define your problems. So to understand your problem that are being available in your problem statement, we have to attack on all these problems iteratively. So first we are going to create your approximate model, then we'll go for iterative analysis, and then as you are going from different iteration, you are getting better understanding for your particular projects. Now the question arises is that, is there a firm line between your analysis is design, वेदर हमको कितना लेवल के इटरेशंस एनालिसिस पे देना है, हमको कितने लेवल के इटरेशंस डिज़ाइन पे लेना है, और हम क्या ओवरडन पे जा रहे हैं या हम अंडर इटरेशन पे जा रहे हैं. सो वी आर हैविंग डिफरेंट लेवल्स. सो for doing this we have to check this by a domain expert. So these are three different steps while we can achieve our iteration between your analysis. So first is that we have to refine our analysis model. So in your refinement, what you can find out is that you are having some inconsistency and you are having some imbalance in between your different models. So when you are going for iteration, you can iterate the different portions of your product, and this product may be uh, coherent, that after some iteration your model becomes coherent, so that it is being more abstract and more semantically related with your data. Now we'll try to refine our classes so as to increase the sharing, and we like to improve our structure, so we can add details that are being available. Then after refining your analysis model, we have to restate our requirements. So when your analysis is complete, so your model serves as a basis for your particular requirement, and it defines your scope for the future discourse. So most of the your real requirements may be the part of your model. In addition, what you can do is that you have some performance constraints. So this performance constraint should be stated clearly, and with some optimization criteria. In addition to that, you must verify the final model with your requester, or right from your uh, clients, or the users of your system. So during your analysis, you are going for some requirements that may appear incorrect, or that may appear as an impractical. So you have to confirm your correction or the requirements right from your users or the client of your information system. Again, you are having some business expert that are being available, so we can verify our analysis model with our business experts. In addition to that, uh, we can find our analysis model to be effective as a means of communication for the business experts, those who are not computer experts. Now when we are in the final verified analysis model, so this final verified analysis model serves as a basis for your particular system architecture or the design, or you can say your final structure available for your implementation. So the next step for going iterating your analysis is that you have to go for analysis and design. So the goal of your analysis is to specify your problem fully without introducing any bias to any particular implementation. But it is because when you are going to bias with a particular technology, we are having some practical limitation that it is rather difficult to go for a particular technology. Instead, what we can do is that our analysis should be unbiased for particular technology because your technology is continuously changing. So initially, let's say, uh, initially when we are defining our requirements, let's say for your Java servlets, and then we are having struts, and then we are having strings, or either we can move for uh, JSP pages, and after JSP pages, or you can go for AngularJS or Node.js. So we are not going for a particular bias to any particular technology. So this is how we can go for our analysis. So the final summary of this analysis is that we are starting with our domain model that captures our general knowledge about your application, your concepts, and your relationship with particular domains. So this domain model is finally evolved to or converges to your class models, and which uh, which is having some state diagrams, and which are having some interaction diagram. So our purpose of analysis is to understand the problem and the application, so that we can construct a design that is more appropriate and more correct for our model. So this is for uh, analysis part of our diagram. Then we'll go for uh, application level in the next classes. Meanwhile, if you are having some problem, then you can ask me. Otherwise, I can switch off my classes. If you are having problem, no. Okay, fine. So you can leave.